What's up YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Daryl Jones and I'll be posting videos about a lot of topics that I personally enjoy and am knowledgeable on so that I can help you guys and also entertain some of you as well. So today's topic is going to be 5 reasons why you can't lose weight. So without further ado, let's get into it. Number 1, the number 1 mistake I see people making, and it's honestly costing a ton of people progress on a daily basis, is overcomplicating diet. And this can also be overcomplicating training as well, but I'll mainly be sticking to the diet portion, and I'll be offering some solutions to all 5 of these mistakes at the end of the video. So for now, I'm just going to explain the mistakes and then I'll offer the solutions afterwards. So the number 1 mistake, like I said, is overcomplicating. And what I mean by this is instead of going at it with a slow, methodical approach, people decide to jump full force into certain diets and certain restrictions that are actually going to lead them to less progress in the long term. So let's say, for example, keto or paleogenic or vegan, vegetarian, all these things, people usually move towards these in the name of dieting and wanting to lose weight and wanting to look better. But a lot of people will find that they actually don't lose weight, do not look better, and are mainly just over restricting themselves, which is causing them to binge and other sorts of things. So that's one big mistake that I think a lot of people could benefit from, not doing, and I'll explain the solution to that mistake at the end of the video. So let's get into the second one. Number 2, like I said previously, it kind of goes hand in hand with overcomplicating, and this is something called over-restricting. So when a lot of people start to diet, one thing they'll do is start to cut out, soda, all these foods that are, labeled bad or good, and this will lead into the third point as well. But over-restricting can lead to a lot of negative effects and a lot of negative progress, because when you over-restrict your body, basically your body's going to be super hungry and craving all of these things that you've completely restricted away from you. So it's going to lead you down, downhill progress-wise, because your body's going to be craving all these things, and at some point you're going to give in and you're going to do something what's called a binge. So when you over-restrict too much, you're going to have so many cravings and so many insatiable feelings that you just want to fill that with anything possible and all the foods that you completely cut out. So like I said, I'll be offering a solution to this at the end of the video, and let's get into the third point. Alright, the third point I'm going to be getting into is a lot of people, when they decide to cut down or to diet or to get in shape, if they're training beforehand, they'll change their training approach, and if they're not training, they'll end up going into the gym and just doing things that aren't necessarily as beneficial as just keeping your training the same and lifting and doing cardio as well. So what I mean by this is I've seen countless times that when people go on a cut, they'll start to do a lot higher reps, way more cardio, and these things aren't necessarily always needed. The most important thing is just overall caloric consumption, which I'm going to get into, like I said, at the end of the video. So like I said, don't change your training from what you were doing beforehand, whether you were bulking, maintaining this, and if you're a beginner, you're still going to want to hop on a program or a structured routine. It's going to be maximizing progressive overload over time, because that's going to be the best and most beneficial way to build muscle and lose fat at the same time. Because that's one thing, I was in the fitness industry for a long time. There's so many misleading things, and they tell you, oh, you can't build muscle and lose fat at the same time naturally, you can't stay shredded year round naturally. I've proven both of those wrong personally, and I want to show you guys that you can too, especially if you're a beginner, because when you're a beginner, even if you're losing weight, you're going to be packing on muscle at the same time, and that's why the scale is not always a good reference point. And number 4, this is going to be going by the scale. So a lot of people will weigh themselves every single day and see how things are going or how things are moving. But weighing yourself every single day, especially if it's at different times during the day, can be really detrimental, mentally. Because if you are a beginner, like I just said, you're going to be building muscle and losing fat at the same time if your goal is to lose fat, obviously. And so that's why the scale can be a bit misleading. You might feel like you lost more weight than you did because the scale says, oh, I've only lost 2 pounds, but you've actually packed on muscle at the same time. So this can definitely be detrimental to your mental. And so what I like to go by personally is visual progress. I choose to look at how I'm looking every single day and then see visually if I'm making progress or not, because like I just said, the scale can be very misleading, especially if you're packing on muscle, and you don't want to just be misled in your head and then thinking, oh, I'm doing all these things wrong and it's not working, what do I do? It's not necessarily always as deep as it seems when the numbers, not going up or not going down. And yeah, that's number 4. And number 5, this one kind of goes hand in hand with someone's previously, but I'm going to label this one as just eating healthy, quote unquote healthy, because this is honestly, I would say, one of the biggest mistakes that so many people make is they'll immediately just start to switch to what they think are healthier options, but they'll come to find that a lot of these healthier options, I put quote unquote healthy because I don't necessarily determine foods as good or bad. I look at the overall caloric intake of what I'm having every day, or the calorie amount of the given food, because you'll find that a salad with ranch has just as many calories as a McDouble. That's the thing. A lot of people think they're making a healthy switch for something, but in reality, it's got the overall same amount of calories. So even though the micronutrients might be there from the healthier option, the overall macronutrients are not changing. So it's another reason why, a lot of people aren't making progress. As I said, these 5 reasons, I'm sure you guys are like, oh, I want these solutions. I want to be able to lose weight. I want to get my dream body. And so I'm going to be giving you guys solutions to all of these. And finally, we're at the solutions section. So I'm going to be explaining a ton of things that I do personally that help me stay lean year round, which technically defies science, what they tell you, but the fitness industry is so misleading. So with the overcomplicated portion, let's get to that. The simplest way to go about not overcomplicating is to simply go to an online source like IIFYM calculator or calorie calculator, and it's basically going to give you a calculation of your total daily energy expenditure. And this total daily energy expenditure is going to be your maintenance calorie amount to where you're going to be staying the same and at the same levels. So once you have this number, you can experiment a bit and drop it by 200, 300, 400 calories to be in a deficit if you're trying to lose weight, and obviously 200, 300, 400, 500 calories more if you're trying to build muscle. And this will be super simple and also keep you in a good place, because when you're tracking overall calories, you can still have all the foods that you're enjoying beforehand, just different quantities, and obviously being more reasonable about it and not going too crazy with these, quote unquote bad foods. But as long as you're under that TDEE, you're going to be in what's called a caloric deficit, and that's how you lose weight. And if you're a beginner, even in a deficit, you can build tons of muscle at the same time, and this is some of the times you'll see the most amount of progress. The solution to number 2, which was don't over restrict, this solution also goes hand in hand with number 1. Still have some of the foods you enjoy, just in less quantities. If you're not wanting to fully track calories, I personally don't track calories anymore. I did for a long time, and so now I kind of have a general idea of how much is in something. But if you're not wanting to track calories, there's something called intuitively eating. And this is pretty much just eating when you actually feel hungry, not when you feel an emotion, whether it's boredom, sadness, anything, because emotions can come into play with food very big. I've learned that the hard way. I used to struggle with binge eating personally. And the main thing that was causing me to binge eat so much is because during the weeks I was over restricting so much that when the weekend came, I was wanting to have all these foods that I was not allowing myself to have during the week, even though I could have allowed myself to have them in different levels of quantities and still been making progress as I should. And number 3, this is switching training. And if I got any of these numbers wrong about beforehand, it's okay. They're just these are the solutions now, so you've got nothing to worry about. But yes, so don't change your training when you are going on a cut or trying to lose weight or anything like that. You want to still be doing the same amount of strength training and focusing on progressive overload, and even blend a little bit of cardio in there. But if you go too crazy with the cardio, it's going to affect your overall training sessions. So you want to do something that's going to be progressively benefiting you and also is enjoyable. That's one thing. One of the biggest solutions to all 5 of these is simply doing what you enjoy. Literally, if you enjoy something, you're going to be able to sustain it for way longer than if you're doing something that you absolutely hate. I mean, when I was over restricting and eating super quote unquote clean, I was making less progress than I am now eating, pizza, burgers, and whatever I want every day, because at the end of the day, like I said, it comes down to overall caloric consumption and also, doing things you enjoy. So let's get to number 4. To number 4 and 5, because they both go hand in hand, is simply just to put in the effort. When you're cutting, losing weight, or even bulking, gaining weight, it's not an easy route, but if you do put in the effort, the progress will come. And by effort, I don't just mean in the gym, this and that, but if you're truly serious about making the progress and you want to track calories and you want to get this down to a science and actually make crazy progress super fast in an enjoyable manner, you're definitely going to be one to tracking calories. And like I said previously, 2 websites that can help you, IIFYM calculator. So what IIFYM stands for is basically my whole ideology about dieting, if it fits your macros. So macronutrients are carbs, fats, proteins, You're going to want to focus on getting enough macros while also being in a caloric deficit to lose weight. And then obviously if you're bulking, you're going to want to up those macros and get the macros over to where you're in a caloric surplus. And one breakdown I personally like to do about macros is 40-40-20. So 40% protein, 40% carbs, and 20% fats. And this will allow you to still have a lot of enjoyment and still have a lot of energy. So you don't want to necessarily go straight out and cut carbs or cut fats. Like I said, don't overcomplicate. So the simplest way to do this, you can do this staying at home. You can, lose weight not training. You can lose weight training. You can get the best shape of your life, just through diet alone, is to, like I said, track macros or at least intuitively eat, but be mindful of what you're eating. And then the biggest tool that helped me personally was intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is basically where you fast for 16 hours a day and eat in an 8-hour window. The windows and the hours can be different, but I personally don't eat until 2 to 3 p.m. And that honestly helps me stay, more focused throughout the day because I'm not slugged down by food. And then when the time comes to eat my food, I have a lot more calories to work with in a shorter amount of time. Therefore, I'm way, way more full throughout the day and feel like I have more energy. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll be posting videos 2 to 3 times per week about my life, things I enjoy, things I'm knowledgeable about, and fun things. So I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next video.